Now that I just moved that. Okay.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to my podcast, Adoption, Love, and Life with Kaylin and my special guest, Jennifer.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Great.
It's good to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here and talk about your adoption.
Oh, thanks.
We are going to mention how we met first.
Okay.
So let's see. My friend Kayla,
Yes.
from Logan, she was one of the families that she actually contacted me about a year ago when I was looking for families to help. Heard about my story. And I think she saw me through Facebook.
I think so too.
Yeah. And then we exchanged a few messages, and then we finally met. And she was going to adopt, and then things turned, and she got pregnant, which we were so excited for her because she has tried for many, many years.
Yes.
And then I think it was like a month or 2 months from now when she told you about me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was part of her support as she was going through her possible adopting journey. And she knew that I was adopted.
Okay.
And had known about my story and me having found my birth parents.
Okay.
So
that's how we connected. And then she texted me, was like, hey, I have someone. I need you to contact her. She would love to be on your podcast. So that's how we know each other. So we talked about like a month ago.
Yeah.
And then we finally set it up. And now we're here today.
Yeah.
So
it's really exciting.
I'm so excited. I love it too. Let's start off a little bit of a background about you and where you live now and just about you.
Okay, great. All right. So I live in Richmond, Utah.
Okay.
So northern Utah. I've been in Utah for 7 years.
Okay.
My husband and I moved from Colorado, where we raised our 3 kids for 25 years.
Oh, and this is the connection we had too.
Okay.
When we were talking, because you live in Littleton.
Oh, I lived I lived in Lakewood, so Morrison in Colorado.
Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
At Red Rocks.
At Red Rocks. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. And I lived in Littleton.
Yes.
Kind of. Isn't the Red Rocks?
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
right
along there off of C470.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we lived close.
Yes.
So your parents did.
Yes. Yeah. So my where I was as an adult, because I didn't grow up in Colorado. I moved there after college, after I was married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we moved there after college. My husband and I, and we lived there for 25 years, raised our 3 kids there.
Yes.
And then once we were unexpectedly empty nesters, ended up in Utah.
Okay.
And that was 7 years, almost 8 years ago.
Okay.
That we moved to Utah. We have family predominantly in Utah.
Okay.
And so we ended up moving and being closer to them, which has been wonderful. I mean, it was what I call the hard right thing to move. We loved Colorado. Mm-hmm. We loved our community there. And
I loved Colorado too.
I loved it.
Maybe one day I'll go back.
But it's been really good. It was important that we moved back. And a lot of the important things that have happened in my life have been a bridge between my time in Colorado and the community there and my family in Utah. So it's all come together the way it was supposed to. Yeah. So
and then you have kids. You have 3 kids?
3 adult kids. Okay. All have married and all have kids of their own now. So I have 7 grandkids.
7 grandkids. Yeah, so fun.
Yeah. So that's really exciting and kind of fun how that plays into it as well, because my daughter has adopted children as well with her wife. So
that's so awesome.
Yeah, so that's been exciting. So I have the 7 grandkids. I have one that's on the way. So I'm going to have 8 grandkids. Fun. I know. So just family has always been really, really important to me, and has been an emphasis over my life. And because my family experience of how my adoptive family came to be, I mean, it's a unique kind of structure, I think, when you're adopted. And so I have a very full family tree, I guess I would say.
That is so awesome.
Yeah.
And now we're going to get into your adoption a little bit. Okay. So how did your adoption start?
All right. So my adoption started, I was born in a military hospital, an Air Force hospital in Panama City, Florida.
Okay.
And that could only happen because my birth mother was in the military. So she had military privileges for me to be born on an Air Force base.
Okay.
Or a military
base.
So it just happened to be that Air Force base.
Okay.
So I didn't really have a lot of information growing up I had very little information about my birth parents. But I did know that reasoned out that's why I was born on a military base.
Okay.
So I was born on Tyndall Air Force Base, placed for adoption, so I was a foster child.
Okay.
And so with the Department of Welfare with Florida. And then I was placed in cradle care so that I could be adopted. So almost like
as a baby?
As a baby.
Okay.
So from the hospital into cradle care.
Okay.
With the express purpose that family is not planning on adopting any of the babies. They're just nurturing, taking care of them, getting to the doctor and all of that until they can be placed with a family
somebody
that's going to adopt them.
Okay.
So I was then placed with my adoptive parents who wanted to adopt me when I was 8 weeks old.
Okay.
And then eventually by the time I was a little bit more than one, I think, is when I was formally adopted. So I was with my parents as they worked through the whole process of me being a foster child to adopt.
Okay.
So, and I was their first that they adopted.
Okay.
So
your adopted parents.
Yes.
And
they were in the military as well.
Okay.
So my dad was in the Air Force.
Okay.
So I grew up in the military. So I moved all over.
So you moved everywhere?
Yes, about every 2 or 3 years we would move.
My husband's brother is in the military.
Okay.
And so they've moved everywhere as well.
What branch of the military? Military is great. I love all the branches.
So he was a dentist.
Okay, yeah.
I know the last one. I know he went to Germany, I think. Yep. If I'm wrong, he's going to laugh about this. but he just ended up he retired in Washington.
Okay. That's awesome.
And now he lives here in Utah.
Yeah. So I lived all over. My dad would be transferred all over. And so that is an important part, I think, of my adoption story because as a result of that, I never grew up in one place. So no one ever knew I was adopted, I guess I would say.
They were like, oh, she's just a new kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're just always new. You were always new, coming or going. Families were always coming or going. But it also contributed to my mindset of being able to accept people where they're at in their lives because especially in the military, you have so many different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And so family configurations and people that you're meeting, you need to just accept them rapidly.
Yes, you do.
Because you're not going to be part of each other's lives very long. So it might as well be a positive experience. So doesn't really matter if you know the background story or have grown up with them.
You just kind of like learn to love people that way. Because I think if you like grew up in Utah and you never leave, it's such a culture shock. Yeah. First of all, but like, I think when you say that, when you moved, for me, I think being adopted in a foreign country and then coming here, I think I can adapt to people very well. Yeah. And I just like accept them. Yeah. And it's like easy for me. Yes. And I don't know why, but I think it's because I've been around.
I think so.
That sounds really bad. I haven't been around like that. But I just been like, from one place to another where it was so, I think also as you're growing up, when you move constantly, I think sometimes that can be really hard on you, but you learn so much you just learn so much in that time about you and how to like cope with things and how to accept and how to
I think adaptability
just adapt.
The other part, and I have different personality, obviously, than my siblings, my adopted siblings, which I think maybe it was harder for them because of certain personality traits, like maybe they were more shy or whatever. I am more outgoing. but being in that environment really fostered that. But it also then just strengthened this idea that you can just take people where they're at.
Yes.
And so there was such a diversity, which I love diversity. So diversity of not only backgrounds, but ethnicity, religion, cultures. I loved it.
Just everything. The whole environment.
I loved it. So being adopted for me wasn't like a standout, and it just didn't come up. I mean, when we talked to other kids, we didn't say, "Hey, how come you don't look like your mom or dad?" Like if you did, you did, and if you didn't, it didn't matter. You were more about getting to know the kids. So I really love that.
How many? So you were in, your adopted parents adopted you, and then they have other kids?
They did adopt other kids. So I was adopted, and then 4 years later, my brother was adopted. He was a private adoption, and he is Hispanic and Native American.
Okay.
So as you kind of like put together a composite of what my family looks like in the time, I was born in 1968. So as I was growing up, there was Olin Mills Photography Studio, and so we would joke that we were the leftovers from the Olin Mills. That if there was anybody standing on the outskirts, we'd be like, "Hey, all of you people, I know you don't look like you go together, but we're going to take a picture of all of you together. You're going to be kind of the..."
And you actually were a family.
Yeah, we were a family. So we have great Olin Mills pictures with each other, and none of us look like each other. So my brother was adopted when I was 4, which was really very sweet and tender. A common theme throughout my life is that I recognized as a child, even before I was introduced to religion, I recognized as a child that there was a hand of God. Like that it wasn't just a bunch of coincidences. Like it wasn't lost on me even as a child. So that the concept of a God to me was never foreign because it just kept showing up in my life. So I just had tender experiences like when my brother came into my life. Like I knew he was coming. I knew he was coming, and I would just pray for my brother to come. I even knew it was a brother.
Aww,
so
that's so cute.
I mean, he was adopted, right? So it wasn't like my parents were looking for a boy. It just the circumstances worked out. So Did you
feel like a connection? Like, oh, he's adopted. He's going to understand how I feel.
No, again, because I, as a child, that was just part of my story.
Okay.
So as far as I knew, everybody's family was like this.
Okay.
So I remember very early on when I was young enough that I saw a pregnant woman and saying to my mom, like, what's wrong with that lady's tummy? Like, because it was obviously pregnant, distended. Like it didn't look like it belonged to her body shape. And she said, oh, well, she's pregnant. She has a baby in her tummy. I was like, oh, she ate her baby? Like I just, as a child trying to understand how all of that works. And she's like, no. Like she has a baby, like she was pregnant. And I said, oh, so just like I was in your tummy. And Mom said, actually, my body couldn't have babies grow in my tummy. So you were adopted. Like you were in somebody else's tummy. So it always layered on that. And I just accepted it as like, oh, well, that's how I came to be here. Okay.
Cool.
So my brother's 4 years. After that, 8 years later, I have another sister that was adopted. She was a foster child for, when she was 6 months old, was a foster child with us. And then we adopted her when she was a year.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yes. And I also had, prior to her, another sister, which is hard for me, that was my foster sister for 3 years. But through circumstances with the state, at the time we were in California, the state and the military, my parents couldn't work out the coordination of time on adopting her, even though they petitioned to both the military and the state to try to make it sync up. And so we had to leave her.
Oh.
And so that was
hard.
It was a death.
Yeah.
It was a death for my parents, for me. At that point, I'm going to say I probably was about 10 when that happened. And so...
and at 10 years old, you kind of...
maybe 11.
Don't understand like what happened, like
you don't understand the
why
logistics.
didn't that work out,
right? She's my sister. like, I don't understand all the backstory and the underpinnings of foster care. And also during this time, over the course of my life, my parents were foster parents the whole time. So we had over 30 children, foster children, come into our home for different lengths of time. And obviously not all of them were going to be adopted, but they needed a place to be cared for. And so I had a lot of experiences and have a very tender spot for foster care, the necessity and I would say the beauty, but the difficult beauty of foster care, the necessity for it, but beautiful things that can happen, but a lot of pain and suffering for those children. And so to see that happen, that was pretty much the culmination where my parents, I think, realized that for them emotionally, if they weren't going to be able to adopt the child, they couldn't keep
doing what they were doing.
Yes.
Which, by the way, kudos to them.
Yeah.
Amazing that they could take those kids in.
Yeah.
And even though those kids couldn't stay, I'm sure they made such a huge impact in them. So kudos to your parents.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And
we need more people like that.
Absolutely.
Foster care.
Yes.
I have thought about it. I don't think I could do it.
Right.
Because I know what it feels like to not be wanted. And I don't think I could do what your parents did, first of all, because I have that connection of not feeling wanted for those 8 years of my life and then finally feeling like somebody wanted me. I couldn't do that to a child, and where it didn't work out, and then I would be so like, oh my gosh, I want all of them.
Yes.
There's no way I'm going to give anyone up.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have to take all of them. And if to take that away,
yes,
I think that would be really hard.
I do too.
For me, like when you were getting emotional there, I would get emotional because I feel like such an attachment to these beautiful kids, whoever comes into your life, and then all of a sudden taken away. I don't think I could do that. Is that like the feeling that sometimes you feel when someone comes in and then they're taken out because you know what it's like in a way?
And that is basically the same type thing. I mean, like you were talking about with my parents, the respect that I have for them and any foster parents, I can only go to the brink. And so my heart breaks because as a child, I watched it break my parents' hearts, and to have experienced
your own
my grief of having lost a sibling. Like, I didn't understand why she wasn't coming with us. She'd been with us for her whole life, for 3 years. So why wasn't she? Was my sister?
Yeah.
Like, who's telling my parents that?
Did it bring you back to your parents, like, oh, why, how come my parents didn't want me? So I guess that's another question too. Kind of go back a little bit. Were your parents open about your adoption? Did they tell you about your parents, their circumstances? So I guess that's where, like, did it take you back and say, oh, well, my parents didn't want me?
Yes.
And kind of connected it with that too.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I would say that it probably sparked that point in my development when I'm thinking it was 10 or 11, that I was 10 or 11 when that happened, that where I was at developmentally, and I can't tell you like specifically, but let's say if it was like during that portion where children identify, right? They're identifying with their family. It almost like magnified whatever was going on at that time, where I did become more concerned because, again, not understanding the logistics and the legality of adoption, to have that happen and to know that my parents loved all of us children as their children, even the children that we knew and I understood that weren't staying in our family, that were foster children, that there was only what foster care meant. Like, my parents explained that to me. And so, and my role to love on them as a child in that family, which I would do, but to recognize that it would just be for a short period of time, but fully expecting that she was already my sister. Yeah. That did heighten kind of like, well, wait a minute. Now I need to know what's my story. Like, are you not, like, could this happen to me?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't thinking it could happen to anybody.
Yeah.
So that was a time. So
that would be so scary.
Right,
like, oh,
like,
okay, well, she's going back. Can I go back anytime then?
Right,
Like,
can someone
are they
take
going to
me back?
take me back?
Permanency?
Yeah, that would be really scary.
So
yeah.
that was a scary thing. And I do remember at that point in time asking more specific questions on the logistics of adoption. How did that work? And it really bothered me when I found out that my parents legally, when they adopted me, like my mom showed me my records, my adoption records, like the court records. Mm-hmm. And I really got hung up on the fact that they had to pay a court fee. Oh. And so I was like, so you bought me.
I'm sorry.
So you bought me?
I laugh at that.
I have a joke. Right? I was so indignant about it. And Mom's like, no, we didn't buy you.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but you did.
You just didn't understand like how adoption like worked.
Right.
And, yeah, that would be really confusing.
It was and insulting. Right. And my mom's like, whoa, wait a minute. Because of course she's like my little child mind. She's trying to help comfort me.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also you were adopted as a baby, so just like growing up,
yes.
you were with them, but then you have all these kids that come in
yes.
and out.
Right.
Yeah, that would be really confusing. I have a funny story about that. So my parents, and I think I mentioned this on my mom's podcast. Okay. But we always have like this joke. Like, Mom, if we're like so horrible, like you can always just send us back. We'll just give you some money.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
You know, and like it was just like a joke where people like if they heard it, like they would be like, "That's so rude." Like,
yeah, that's not funny.
That's like really bad. And it's like, no, Mom, like you can actually get really good money for me, like if you really want to take me back. But she would always say you were worth every penny.
Right.
So,
well, and that I think is a big part of this as my journey as I've grown up. Even as a child, the other piece that's unique to this is that my adopted mother was adopted.
Yes, you mentioned that. I was just gonna ask you that.
So I'll get to that point because I want to finish out the rest of my family. So that was helpful. Mm-hmm. So when I would bring things like that up, or I would say those things, my mom had experienced that as a child, but had processed it and understood it as an adult. Mm-hmm. So she could calm my child's heart from her place.
Because she understood it.
She understood. Mm-hmm. She was both parts of that triangle, right? Mm-hmm. The adopted, the birth, and the adopted parent. Yeah. She had two sides of it. So the final child in my family of origin is a sister that I'm 14 years older than.
Okay.
And my parents biologically had her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my mom and dad. My mom wasn't supposed to be able to get pregnant. It was fertility problems and other, like she had other health issues that prevented her from being able to get pregnant. So but she had lots of medical issues, mm-hmm. and so when she got pregnant, and again, this common thread of just this connection to family. Being in the military, you go to the doctor on base, right? Mm-hmm. It's just part of. So she had told me.
They have everything on base.
Everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We live on base, and I lived on base. Mm-hmm. So everything's there, which is a unique way to grow up too, you know, surrounded by a gate.
I actually think that's so cool.
I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah. When I went to my brother's in Washington and they're like, oh, we have this in here and here. I'm like, all here?
Oh, yeah.
That's so convenient, first of all.
Pools, schools, it's cool. Everything. So anyway, she told me she was going to the doctor. And I keep in mind, I was like 13, 14. And I said, they're going to tell you that you're pregnant. Why did I say that? I didn't.
You just knew.
But I didn't know that I knew. And my mom's like, why would you say that to me? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not pregnant. I can't get pregnant.
I can't, yeah.
And yet, I was the messenger for her. Mm-hmm. So, true enough, I get home from school, and she finds out she's pregnant. That's why she thought her medications were off, but it was because she was pregnant, and it was, conflicting with all of her medications and medical issues.
So, was she older when she had your sister?
Yes. So, she was, I got to get this right. I should have done the math. I'm horrible at math. I should have done the math before I came, but she was in her 30s, late
Oh, okay.
30s.
She's still young.
Yeah, she's still
young.
young.
I was thinking like,
yeah,
with your brothers and sisters coming in, I'm like, wow, she's got to be like 40.
No,
okay,
no,
30s.
She was I think 23 when I was adopted.
Oh, okay.
So
she was young.
Yeah, so she was younger, but old enough that it was an issue medically for her. So she was high risk and everything, and but my sister was born. That's a completely different, beautiful story of how she came to be a part of our family. And I was 14 when she was born. So my mom would joke that my youngest sister was their homemade baby.
Oh.
But I, of course, would say, so then does that make the rest of us takeout? Because we're all different ethnicities, too, right? My adopted siblings. She's like, no, why would you? No. Now see what you did. I don't like that. I don't.
And see, I think that is so awesome that you can make jokes, because we as a family had jokes.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people don't understand the joking when they don't have someone adopted.
Right.
It is totally normal.
It is normal. And actually,
every person that I've taught, it's so healthy, because sometimes there's a lot of hard things.
Yes.
And sometimes you like hard things that just come up in your life, and you have to like learn. And if you can joke with it with your family and they understand, that's all that matters. But on the outside of you, for other families though,
it seems
people look at you like, what's wrong with this family? Like, that's not, it's actually normal, guys. It is way normal. Every person I've talked to with adoptees, there is an inside joke, and just know that it is okay.
Yeah. Well, and my brother, right? My beautiful brother. I always knew I was going to have babies that were ethnic, because I wanted them to look like my brother. And in my mind, you get to choose, right? Like, it's not genetics. I didn't ever think that through. So I have my first baby, who is like cue ball, bald, but comes in white hair, blue eyes. My baby.
You're like, wait, what?
Right. And I said to my brother, I don't know what happened. And he said, in the joking, I told you, if you marry a white boy, he gives you white babies. Like, you can't just pick to have babies that look like me. And I'm like, I can't believe that. Like, I've been gypped. Because but to anyone else, that's going to be all kinds of issues with it. But adopted, you just, you love the person, I guess is what I'm saying.
You do.
So it's not about all these other things.
And you also, like, your whole, like, transition of your mom not having kids.
Right.
And then all of a sudden having a kid, and then you realizing, like, you weren't in her tummy.
Yes.
That's a very confusing thing growing up.
It's a complex concept for a child.
Yeah, complex.
And then on top of it, you then do have to have the facts of how that works. And now you're dealing with the fact of, oh, so you didn't genetically happen. Like, I didn't genetically happen as a result of you and dad.
And that's why I don't look like you.
And that's
okay.
And so
that makes sense.
Who do I look like?
So, moving a little bit forward, did you ever meet your birth parents throughout that time, and what age was it?
I did find my birth parents.
Okay.
So again,
this was after you were married or before?
After.
So you had your own kids as well, and then your husband, and then you found your birth parents.
Yes.
And were your parents supportive?
Yes. Awesome. So my adoptive parents, phenomenal.
Well, they sound phenomenal.
They are phenomenal. And just the way that they raised me to teach me and tell me back my story always included an element of honor and respect for my birth mother. They didn't know my story. They didn't know the details of my story. But what they knew, which I believe is true, I don't want to make a generalization, but I think is the right way to approach it, is that there's not only heartache involved in any adoption story, but there's love and respect involved for hard things. And so they always spoke of their regard for my birth mother, that she did a very hard thing, regardless of how she came to be pregnant. The fact that she placed me for adoption and them knowing that she had to have been in the military because I was born on a military hospital, that they had such respect for her that she was courageous enough to do that. I carried that with me. So I honored her. So they were very supportive. My mom being adopted, not having the support from her family in the same way because of when she was born. Like you didn't investigate. You just accepted that you were
just
adopted.
Accepted it. Yeah.
No.
But that's awesome that she was open.
Oh, yes.
And to even have like an adopted mom.
Yes. It was
that
cool.
You could just connect with too,
Yes.
that she just understood that side and the other side.
And the
so
needs that I had. But I wanted the answers to my story. I just wanted to know my story.
Awesome.
It was mine. And so she got that. So they encouraged me my whole life.
I'm going to go back real quick.
Yeah.
Since it was open. It was open or closed adoption?
No, it was closed.
So it was closed.
Sealed records.
But talking about how your parents were open, I think my last podcast we were talking about, it doesn't matter, for me at least, it doesn't matter if it's open and closed.
Right.
When a child comes and asks about your adoption, be open as you can.
Yes.
Depending if you know the situation or not.
Right.
Know the situation. Because in the end, even if you don't tell them anything, they're always going to wonder.
They're always going to wonder.
Always.
And here's the other part. I always think you need to be developmentally appropriate.
Yes.
Like if you know the hard things from the background and it's a small child asking, you're not going to share things that are going to be really difficult for that child.
But as you get older,
yes.
Because I hear stories, I've heard many stories
yes.
about, when they're like 21 and they'll ask and they'll be like, I'm not going to tell you.
Right.
But they're old enough, they're developed enough that they need to know, and they're always going to know. But
right.
yeah, like you said, it depends where they are at their age and what it is.
Well, and it goes back to the fact that you're honoring and respecting that it's that person's story, because the other part that's involved is trust. Right.
Yes.
So for me, I'll speak for myself. I know that this can be a common theme for people that are adopted, but trust is a really big deal. So if your adoptive parents or people that have information about your story aren't willing to share it, or they're not going to truthfully tell you things, and they either change the facts or withhold things from you, that impacts your trust.
Oh, it does. For me, there was like certain things which I don't think my parents ever were trying to be secretive.
Right.
But there was a time where I was pregnant and I didn't really know the story, but I asked my mom and I was shocked. And I was like, what? Why didn't you ever tell me? And she's like, oh, well, I didn't think, you were young.
Yeah.
So I just, and then I just didn't want to hurt you. But also you weren't old enough yet.
Right.
And so now you're old enough, but I'm like, Mom, but I was mad.
Yeah.
I was like, you should have told me 10 years ago. I would have taken this just fine. But she also did her best too.
Right. And she doesn't know because she's not adopted.
But just being honest, because then you have that resentment
yes.
towards someone that actually gave you life or adopted you. You don't want to have resentment either.
No. And my adopted mom had, because of when she was born, had a lot of those things happen, where she was lied to about her circumstances, and then also told, well, aren't you appreciative of the life that you have? Why would you want to know? If you're not grateful that you were adopted, you shouldn't be asking.
Yeah.
You should just be okay with it. So my mom knew that was not right.
That wasn't.
So both of my parents were very, very supportive. And so they always told me, we'll always talk to you about it. We'll always be open, which they were. And also, when you're ready to search, we will totally support you, which they did. So when I turned 18, I started searching.
Okay.
I did it in in different ways that I emotionally was ready to do, because I didn't really know how to search. I mean, and you have to remember with how old I am, this was before computers were readily accessible to the general public. So now we're talking researching microfiche, and I mean, we're sounding like spy work, right? You know what I mean? Archaic stuff. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. And then you have the emotional component to it. Because even though you're wanting to, for me, I still had to deal with all of these milestone parts of my life.
Yeah. Or the what ifs or why.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what if I find them? So
what if I find them? What if I don't? What if they don't want me to find them?
Right.
What if they don't want to?
You have to go
me?
through all that. And my life is
It's a lot.
continuing to happen. So I searched for 22 years, and I went.
Wow.
I petitioned the court that I went through. These are different stages of my search. I had letters from my OBGYN because I had complications with my pregnancies that they thought could be genetically based. So using that as a reason that if you would just open my records, I could have my medical information that could help me.
Do you think it was 10 times harder because it was military?
Yes.
Based?
I do. I don't know if that would be backed by anyone because it was through the Department of Welfare. But I did eventually find out that I do have strong military background and that a grandfather was very high-ranking military. Okay. So
I would say 22 years. That's a long,
long
time.
Just to have it sealed and buried, right? So, so it was a long time searching, and I would have to take breaks sometimes. You know, when I was dealing with the births of my own children, that brings up your own adoption things.
Yes, it does.
And so I needed to emotionally take a break so I could not only be present for the experience of having a child, but everything that meant to me uniquely by being adopted. And so I would take breaks. So 22 years, and when I turned 40, I, again, timing and hand of God, it all came together. I know that the timing was crucial because it worked out that because of it being that long, not only was I in the best possible place for it to happen, but my family, my adopted parents, but my husband and children and my birth families, because I found both my birth and mother and father at the same time. Okay.
That is so awesome.
Information.
So excited to hear that.
That was incredible. And it needed to be that long for it to be the best possible way to work out. So I would just take it in stride, because the other part is,
do you think it prepared you?
Yes.
For however long it takes. I mean, sometimes it takes a year, sometimes it doesn't. But do you think it prepared you for the day that you met them?
Yes.
And so let's talk about that real quick. When you met them, were your parents still here? Your adopted parents?
Yeah, because both of my adopted parents have passed.
Okay.
At this point, both of my parents have passed away. Okay. So but in time right now, I mean. But when I found them, my parents were both still living, my adopted parents. So I always knew I was going to find my birth family.
My birth family.
So even from the time I was a child, as my story was told to me, just having knowledge of things, even though it wasn't coming together and I searched for 22 years, I always knew I was going to find them.
Which is so cool.
I knew it. And I just knew I had to be persistent, but I also needed to be good to myself and not get frustrated or upset, which I did get frustrated and upset.
For sure.
But
which is normal feelings to have.
Yes, and frustrated in a variety of areas. But I always knew I was going to find them, so I could just hang in there. So when I did find them, I got their information is how I found them. I got access to their information. And as a result of that, with the support of my parents and my husband and my extended family and great community in Colorado, again, that I built into, because by this point, as I started searching, I started telling people that I was adopted. And that was part of my journey, because like I told you, I never shared it with someone growing up. It wasn't part of my childhood. I told my best friend in high school when I was a senior, and I divulged it to her like this huge dark secret.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the build up to it was so emotional. And I mean, she's a teenager too. I can only imagine what she thought I was going to tell her. So when I told her that I was adopted, she's like,
oh, okay.
What? That's it? That was her response, was, that's it? I'm like, yes. Like, it was this big thing. And keep in mind, all of my friends, by the time I get to high school, my dad's retired. And so I went to high school all in one place. So now I have people that are seeing my family and interacting with my family, and we clearly are not genetically related.
Yeah.
Like, I can't stress how different all of us look from each other.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, are people just blind? And I think it's just that people don't stop to think about it.
No, they don't.
So I just kept thinking, I'm keeping this huge secret. And I've picked up on social cues over my life that adoption is not really looked at as a positive thing. I mean, that was my kind of cues that I picked up on. I didn't really talk about those things with my adopted parents because I knew it didn't matter to my adopted parents. So they could say, well, yeah, people might make jokes like, well, you're adopted, you know, things like that. And that's meant to be an insult. But for my parents, they're like, they don't understand.
Yeah.
It's just that they don't understand. So I never discussed how that was hard for me as a secret. So I tell my best friend, she's like, that's it? Who cares? Like, nobody cares.
No one cares. Yeah.
So that kind of released me because when I moved away and went to college,
it was easier for you to say that you were adopted.
Yes, it was just part of who I was.
That was like that for me when I was like growing up. I actually didn't want anybody to know.
Right.
And so
and mine
I think I mentioned this in my brother's, and he would say, well, I'm adopted. And then he would say, my sister's, no, I'm not. Like, I don't want people to know. But my situation was, I didn't want people to feel sorry for me because people would find out that I was, you know, adopted, and then they would find out that I was in an orphanage. And then people treated me just a little bit different because they're like, oh, be careful. She was in an orphanage, you know? And so like
that was bad?
That was bad.
Oh, okay.
Because,
see, again,
you know, most people...
I'm like, I don't understand why. Be careful.
Most people, I think, thought if you were in the orphanage, it was a really bad place.
Okay.
And so it's like you have to be careful what you say or what you do because she might be very sensitive.
Okay.
And so, but also, that's just what people just assumed.
Right.
Which, I mean, they could assume that because my orphanage did suck. And I hated it.
Yeah, it was bad.
But you can't just assume either. So I think just not just saying anything just relieved me from like, you know, like, oh, how was it? You know, I'd say, oh, it was horrible. And they're like, oh. So then that, like, some people just wouldn't talk to me.
Right.
Because they were like worried that they would hurt me or say something offensive, which I totally get. But yeah, I think that's why I like wouldn't accept it for a while either. Like, oh, I'm adopted. I was in an orphanage.
Yes.
And then I just got sick of my brother saying that I was.
Outing you every time.
I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have to like eventually be okay with where I came from and just like own it because I kind of like switched my mindset and said, you know what? I'm not there. And I can actually like just help other people that I was in a bad situation and I need to give respect to my parents for what they did.
Yes.
And so that's where it like kind of changed. And I finally like, I think it was like 6th grade. I think we had one class and he did that. And I went up to him and I said, you need to stop telling people that I'm adopted. And he's like, well, why won't you tell them? Like, I don't know. Like, but let me do it myself. Like, let me figure it out. And then he stopped. And so then when we got to high school, it actually was the opposite. People didn't even know that we were brother and sister at all. And then they were like, oh, you were adopted. And I was like, yeah, I'm adopted. And I just became more comfortable with it.
Yes.
But yeah, you do have like that.
Yes. I just had to.
Connection somehow where you just can't, you know, like.
And that was mine. It was after I graduated from high school and I realized I'm the one that's I'm continuing to put the misconception, the yucky misconception, the uncomfortable misconception of what people think about adoption. I'm perpetuating that. I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
This is part of who I am. My parents have honored it. They have celebrated my story as being mine.
And
So
I think you
I'm
become
going to.
stronger when you do accept
Yes.
the hard things.
Yes. And so it's part of my story.
That's awesome. But we are back. We have a couple more questions that I want to ask, and then we will end this episode. When we're going to go back just a little bit more, I want to know how you felt and how it was the day that you met your parents, your birth parents, and were your adopted parents with you?
When I received access to their information to identify them, to reach out to them, that it was a whole process and experience as well to make contact. I made the conscientious decision to contact my birth mother first.
Okay.
I never expected to get information about my birth father. I always thought I would get that from her. I just never stopped to think about how that would. So
Did you know their names before?
I found them. No.
Their names at all?
No.
So you found out when you were... Okay.
Yeah. So when I got access to their information is when I got all the identifying information so
Okay.
I could contact them.
After 22 years.
After 22 years of searching.
That's a long time. Because I know my birth parents' names,
Yes.
but I can't put face to the name.
Which is also interesting too, because that's a whole different thing. But
It is.
I already had a connection to my birth mother's name before I ever knew it.
Okay.
And it was a really strong, like, spiritual connection.
Oh, which
so
is so
when
cool.
when I found out her name, again, it just made sense to me. I'm like, of course that's her name. Of course that is.
What's her name?
Olivia.
Olivia. Okay.
So, and I just, it's part of my heart song. That name. Every time I hear that name, it squeezes my heart.
Oh,
And
I
it
love
did
that.
ever since I was a child.
Oh, I love that.
So,
Wow.
So anyway, I decide and talk about it with my family on how to contact her and
Approach this.
how to approach that, and had the question posed to me: what happens if she doesn't want anything to do with you? And honestly, because of all of the time and experiences and process and support that I'd had, I could honestly say it will be hard. It will really be hard, but it won't crush me.
Yeah.
Because I have a family. I am loved. I feel very supported, and it will be okay. But it's my story. I'm not going to not do it for fear that she won't want anything to do with me.
Yeah. So I have to try.
I have to try. That's why
I really love that. That really hits home for me, because that's what I thought about when I was searching for my parents too. I thought the same thing as you did.
Yeah.
It's okay. If they don't want nothing to do with me,
Right.
I'm fine.
Right.
Like,
if it doesn't work out and I can't find them.
I'm so grateful what I have now. Like, love my parents.
Yes.
Love everything that I have. And I think that's awesome, because I think you have to, like, be able to learn that and kind of, like, accept it. I used to write it in my journal all the time. Like, I think you either have to say it out loud.
Yes.
Or you have to write it down. Because if you don't face it, and you don't say things like that when you are finding your birth parents, it's going to be a lot harder for you.
Yeah.
But I think if you can accept it in your mind and say that it's okay, still hard.
Yes.
Still hard. That fear is still hard.
Yes.
Of not knowing what they're going to do.
Right.
But I think if you can teach your mind and your heart to be able to be okay with it, you will get through it.
Yeah, I think you will. And I had to let go of the fact that I didn't know how to do it. I didn't have any manual. I didn't have any podcast I could watch. I didn't have, I hadn't talked to anybody that had been reunited or had tried to reach out to their birth parents. I didn't have anything.
Yeah. So you had no...
What I did have was...
your mom.
I had
and
my
your
mom.
dad's support and your family.
Right. And I could check in with them and express my concerns and fears to them and saying to my dad, especially my dad, who wasn't adopted, do you feel like I'm ungrateful because I want to find them? And
No.
he said, if there are more people that will love you, how would I ever deny you that?
Yeah.
And if they don't want to have anything to do with you, I'm your dad.
Yeah.
I'm still here. Like I've got you. And that's all I needed, was for him to know that it had nothing to do with the level of happiness in my life and my family. It had everything to do with, it was my story. It only had to do with me, and I didn't have to be perfect at it.
Yeah. No, you don't.
Open.
But you like care.
Oh, you care.
You have that careness of everyone's feelings.
Well, and I was very concerned, talking about that care, I was very concerned not knowing them, not knowing the story of my adoption from their side, that I was literally going to be dropping a bomb in their life. I could possibly destroy their lives.
Yeah. But it's your story.
But it's my story. So it was very conscientious how I went about doing it, so it could have the most respectful, sensitive way to just reach out to them directly and state why I had made contact with them and what I would like, but that I was grateful for any part that they were willing. Meaning that I wanted genetic and medical information, but I would like contact with them if they were okay with that. But that I had a wonderful family. So I didn't...
And that you were grateful for your life that you have now.
Yes.
I feel like I would do the same thing that you would do. Like you are speaking my language right now. Like I would do the same thing. Okay, so the day that you met your parents.
Okay, so I send a letter to my birth mother, and it has all my contact information in it. And she calls me back and leaves a message. I didn't get the phone call, leaves a message. So
you heard your mom on the other end.
Yes,
oh my gosh, I would probably be crying.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Straight to the floor, listening, and just...
That's awesome.
It was amazing. Just the love in her voice.
The love and the relief that you finally found her.
And her expressing that to me. Again, so I had kind of like a prequel, like, of how she was going to respond, right? It wasn't just she picks up the phone and I'm like, okay, full in the face.
Hello.
So I was able to call her back, and we started talking on the phone regularly for several months until we both felt like we could meet face to face. And then the way that we structured it is that I took my parents and my husband and my 3 kids, and we flew to meet her and her family.
That's so awesome.
And it was transformative. It was more than anything I could have ever hoped or imagined. Not saying that it's been easy. I mean, family's hard, and it's a complex situation, but the openness to accept people, from them to me and my family and my adopted parents, was so overwhelming. The goodness. And back to the timing, it had to be 22 years later for them to be in a place that they could do that.
They could do it.
And my family could do it.
That makes my heart so happy. I just want to cry.
It was so amazing.
I think that's just so cool, because even though I probably will never get that, I'm so happy that you got that, because I feel like there's like a part of you that's full now. Like it's not empty as much, because and just to have like your supportive parents and your husband and your kids, and then her to be able to accept that
and
be okay with it, and her family.
Like
I think that's just so awesome.
It made us all stronger as individuals in our journey, because the part that we're not talking about, which is a whole different podcast.
Did you guys record this by chance?
Yeah, of us meeting the first time. Not the very first meeting was just me and her on the beach.
Oh, okay.
Because I was...
Oh, that's so awesome.
Because I was born in Florida. And so that was a really private but very otherworldly experience.
That's
I mean,
so awesome.
It was out of it was out of time and space. I don't know how to describe it. I mean, it sounds like a back to school special because it really is. I mean, it really was. Yeah. It really was very
personal, but
it was incredible.
That's awesome.
And I didn't know that it was going to be that.
Does she look like you?
I look like her. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is also a really interesting.
It's a huge thing for me.
Oh, huge. I don't look like anybody.
Yeah, I don't look like anybody.
Yeah, so
and I don't have pictures of anybody.
Right.
So to me, to this day.
Yes.
And so it makes me. It's really hard for me.
It is.
I take pictures of my kids like constantly, and I think it's because I don't have pictures of me.
Right.
As a child, so when they were little, I mean, I have so many pictures, and I'm like, why? Why do I take so many pictures? Oh, because I don't have any.
Right.
But I also don't have any pictures that look like I don't like anyone. My kids look like me now, but
yes,
I just think having that and having, walking up to her and just like seeing each other and you're like, oh my gosh, that is my mom. She looks just like me.
Yes, a reflection and mannerisms and even personality traits and tendencies. That's
so awesome.
And it's on both sides. It has been a connecting piece, almost like a completing connecting piece.
Like your heart is now feel like you understand where you came from.
Yeah,
what you look like.
It's my story. I have more of my story.
That was so awesome.
I have the pieces that were missing, and going back to the joking. Now it extends into the birth family, right? Because something will happen, be like, well, I know where I got that from now.
Yes.
Thanks, by
the way. Now you can say that.
Thanks for my hairy arms. Thanks. That's my birth father, by the way.
That's so funny.
Thanks for my hairy arms that as a girl I hated.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. And he's like,
you're welcome.
Sorry, you're welcome.
So you met your mom at the beach, then you met the whole family, and your birth parents still together or not together?
They were never together.
Okay, they were never together. So you met your mom.
They dated
in the military base.
Yes,
probably.
They dated. Okay. And then once then they separated.
Okay, so you met your mom
for a while,
and then your family met them.
Yes.
And then when did you meet your dad? Was it soon after? Or did you take a little break?
Oh, I had to take a break.
For sure. That's a lot.
It was a lot. And it was good. It was a necessary break, but it was by the next year.
Okay.
But what I did was I just focused on her because my connection, and also an interesting connection to be able to make with my adopted mom, because again, being a mother isn't about biology. And so we had a connection that my adopted mom made very easily with my birth mom, because my birth mom went on to have another child. And so to be able to, and I had already had my children at this point. So to have that common thread of how we all were mothers, but in different ways, and by the world's definition, very different, but the common thread being that we loved
each other.
We loved each other and connected and loved our children, even though our children were part of our lives in different ways. So,
which is a beautiful, beautiful connection. I would think that just makes me tear up, because I would want the same thing for my parents.
Yes.
I would want my birth parents to know how amazing my parents are.
Yes.
And to be able to connect and just say, hey, this is who gave me life.
Yes.
And love.
Yes.
And changed who I am. And to have them to have that connection would be the most amazing thing for me.
Yes.
I think it would help me in a lot of ways, because I'm half my birth parents.
Yes.
And then I'm half them. And
yes.
so to have that connected,
it was incredible.
Would feel a hole in my heart.
It did feel it. It helped with healing that I didn't realize that I needed, because I don't view myself as broken. But at the same time, there are things that are hard and difficult.
We're not broken. We just have pieces that need connection.
Correct. And that's how I viewed it.
Yes.
So probably the most beautiful thing that came out of that, the sentiment that you're describing, is that we, Olivia and I had specifically scheduled it in the order and how we would meet different people and bring them in. And so the final gathering was bringing both sides of the family together. So now it's she and I have already met face to face alone. And then she met my parents and family alone. And then my family went away, and I met her mother and sister and husband and family alone. And then we brought both sides together.
Which is so awesome.
And we just kept building on this connecting. And what was so tender, and I think epitomizes what you're talking about, is that Olivia said to all of us, I didn't know this, but she was addressing my parents, and just said, I know all of you are here to support Jennifer and I and our journey. But really today, is about celebrating her parents that have made it possible, because they understand what adoption really is. If it wasn't for them in how they raised me and honored and respected her difficult circumstance, even though they didn't know the details, and my journey and what it meant to love a child that you adopted, we wouldn't have been there. And so then she gave my parents this beautiful statue of a mom and dad holding a baby.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Isn't it so beautiful?
Where's the tissue?
I was wiping.
I don't even know why I now have a tissue.
So
I'm so sorry.
That has been
so beautiful.
Isn't that
so beautiful? I love that, and
So
I love
it was
how it doesn't all hit at once,
No.
right? Like, oh, everybody meet everybody.
No.
It would be so overwhelming.
So overwhelming.
The way that you planned it, I think, is so beautiful. It takes also time for others to, accept this new person and take some time. And that's what people need sometimes, is they need some time to process it. And then when they come together, they're more open and not hurt, and they can just feel the love, which is
and it hasn't
so
been
awesome.
all butterflies and roses.
No.
Families are complex. It's been 16 years I've been reunited, and we've had some rough times.
Well, there's certain things that come up.
Oh yeah,
and you're like
marriages of children, and I mean, you just have all birth of children. I mean, all these milestone things, and then just things that catch you off guard.
Yes,
right. Like the passing of both of my adoptive parents. That has brought up things for me. So now my adoptive parents that raised me are no longer physically here, but my birth parents are.
Yeah.
And I did go on to be reunited with my birth father. I waited several months before I even reached out to him after I had met your mom. Yeah. And so I needed that time. And so, and then that was a whole
another journey.
And basically mirrored it, but we just did it in a different location and had them come to us and could meet everyone. But everybody, you've got so many people involved, so many different dynamics. And so I have 2 half brothers through my birth father, a half sister through my birth mother. So then you have those relationships that and they have their own relationships with them. And how are they telling them about me? I mean, so it just gets really, really complicated, and my family tree just gets really, really full.
I was going to say your family tree gets bigger and bigger.
Very, very big. And so,
which is so cool at the same time, but it is a lot to take in.
It's a lot
to take in. Yeah. But I can tell that you've grown.
Yeah.
And it's made you who you are today now. And what do you want everyone to know that maybe others wouldn't know about adoption?
I've thought about this question. It's going to probably sound a little cheesy, but it's the truth. Love transcends. It's all about love.
Yep.
If you can just stay focused and centered on love, the rest will take care of itself. It's not going to make it be less difficult, but if it can come back to that, that's really where it is. So with those stories, just to honor people out of love, give them grace, give yourself grace. The circumstances, like, you just be good to yourself, just love each other. And
love can go a long way.
A long way.
It can.
And that it doesn't make it easier. It just makes it better.
Yeah, because I think if you have all this hatred and, even if you have, a journey that is so hard and maybe so many things that is just so hatred.
Yes.
I couldn't see how you can move on from that if you don't have love. Like, you have to have love to come into that.
Right.
And you have to just accept it to be able to move on and forgive or whatever the circumstance is.
Yes.
But love is what's going to get you through it and make you stronger.
Yeah.
And connect you.
Yes.
With, for you, that's what it's. You've
Absolutely.
Connected with all these people that now you have so much love for, even more people that you didn't even know you could have.
Right. And with God with me. I mean, again, it's not about a specific religion for me. That has been an overarching since the time I was a child. Like I told you, I just knew he was there. I just knew that God was love.
Yeah.
That is what love is. And so that can look very different for people, but his hand just keeps showing up in the timing of it. Again, and it's helped me get through it. And it has caught me off guard in how it has manifested itself. Like, the different experiences when things have been hard, when my parents passed away, I know that my parents and my birth parents love each other. They have a beautiful relationship and bond that I never expected would come out of this. And that was because they were all open to that concept of, we don't have to have it figured out or do it exactly perfect or whatever that means, but we just need to love. We just need to love.
Well, and like you said, like, they both have like a bond.
Yeah.
I think in any situation, adoption situation, open or closed, and I'm not speaking for everyone, this is just what I feel.
Yeah, me too.
But either parties are going to feel empty in some way.
Yes.
And I think if it's closed adoption, I think that would be really hard.
Yes.
I think, as you get older, you want to start figuring things out. You want to be able to meet where you come from.
Yes.
Especially, a lot of it is health-wise.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of adoption people or adoptees don't have a lot of paperwork for health-wise. So I think that's like the number one thing that brings up everything.
Absolutely.
And, finally comes together. But I think we need to be open on both sides. Even though if it's hurtful, you need to learn to come together and just accept. But also, now you have just a whole nother family that you can love and you can learn from and you can accept. And even though there's triggers that come up, you become a stronger person. Yes. And I think you become more loving and more accepting of other people's situations. Yes. I hope that makes sense.
It does. It does, because that's what I feel. And probably the most surprising for me is that I have learned to love myself more as a result of watching how all these other people have showed up in love. And so I'm like, I can love my story, even if it has hard parts to it, even if there are ongoing things. I'm like, okay.
I love that. Yeah. And I just love your story. And I think you can help. I think you're going to help so many other people. Oh, so thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for asking me.
Of course.
It's been great.
It's been so fun. And thank you for sharing your story, and thanks for coming. And thank you all so much for listening. And we're going to see you on the next episode. See you guys.
Bye.
Awkward.